Hi there, this is Debbie Waldeck, creator of the Saving Generation Next project. The purpose of the Saving Generation Next project can be found either on my YouTube channel or at my website to save time, but these are comprehensive health education webinars that go day by day, week by week in a series. Today we're in Part 3, Section 1, speaking about the foundation of health, aging, and the glutamine-glutathione connection. This will be presented in 4 parts. Glutathione is considered the master antioxidant, and we can't buy it, we make it. So we're going to learn about glutathione, the definition, history and genetics, oxidation and aging, genetics detoxing and aging, and last, improving levels naturally and with supplements. So I want you to think about this. Glutathione decreases as we age, but more importantly, aging and toxicity are the same. And I think many of you would agree that we are in a more toxic environment, but things that we've done for the last 4 decades have also created children who then grow into adults that are experiencing more toxicity and more stress in their bodies because of what we have done. And I discussed that in my series number 1 with regards to intestinal health and the immune system. Before we get started, as always, this presentation has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and the information is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But let's take a look. Glutathione, again, is an antioxidant. We'll be speaking more about oxidative stress in Part 2, Section 2, but either way, every day we're exposed to stress or trauma, imbalances in the gut, or aging, infection, drugs, pollution, and the diet here in America. But we were created to handle these infections, to handle these exposures. Our bodies were known to be exposed to toxins even before we lived in this society we live in today. We produce free radicals which create oxidative stress, but we were created with antioxidants to handle all that, and we should be living at least 120 years. We also have genetics, and genetics have not changed dramatically in 4 decades, but disease has. However, the load of our genetic predispositions plus our environment is participating in disease, and we'll be talking about that later in this webinar series. But glutathione, you see the pronunciation there, is the most important molecule we need to stay healthy and prevent disease. The thing is that few people have really even heard of it. I think that's such a shame. And you know why we haven't heard of it? Because you can't buy it. And if you are buying it, you're wasting your money because the molecule is too large to be digested and utilized effectively. It is something our bodies make. But it's the secret to prevent aging, cancer, heart disease, dementia, and so much more. You know, and I think that because we can't get a patent on it, we're not going to hear about it. So we're going to need to educate ourselves. But it's needed to treat everything from autism to Alzheimer's disease. There's more than 89,000 medical articles about it, but we've not heard about it. Now, this deficiency is found in nearly every ill patient, to include chronic fatigue syndrome, heart disease, cancer, chronic infections, autoimmune disease, diabetes, autism, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, arthritis, asthma, kidney problems, and liver disease. I want you to take a look at this short list because there's so much more. But if you have any of these conditions or anything that manifests as a hyperactive immune system evidenced by asthmas, allergies, these minor inconveniences, if you will, at the root is an intestinal dysfunction, and that can result in glutathione deficiency. So we're seeing an increase in disease because we're experiencing increases in oxidative stress, which I'll talk about in Part 2. But glutathione is the antioxidant we were created with, we were born with. The Creator gave it to us so that we could detoxify and we could live. Now, it's made of 3 major ingredients, or amino acids, really. Glutamate, or L-glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. Now, glutamine and cysteine are found naturally in breast milk. Glycine is also helpful for prostate health. And as we've talked about in series number 1, when we experience digestive dysfunction, which I talk about how the increase in C-sections, formula feeding, chemicals, drugs, preservatives have damaged the intestinal ecology, which has affected and created a hyperactive immune system, what's normally used to heal the intestinal wall is glutamine, but we're burning it up. And here you go. The role of glutathione is really threefold. It's an antioxidant and the most powerful antioxidant. It's a blood booster and a cell detoxifier. But the key is that any antioxidant that we're supplementing with, that we're eating in our diet, whether it be vitamin E, A, OPCs, which are bioflavonoids, CoQ10, which is a powerful antioxidant for the heart or the mitochondria, they all need glutathione to work optimally. And glutathione helps to create more white blood cells. But glutathione actively stimulates the action of ingested antioxidants from whole foods and allows a proper utilization of these phytonutrients that are vital for health and longevity. So put simply, if our glutathione is low, then no amount of supplementation with antioxidants will have a real marked effect on the health of the individual. Therefore, we need to listen and learn about glutathione. Think about it. Obese patients with high glutathione levels do not have a tendency towards diabetes. However, those obese patients with low glutathione levels do. So maybe obesity itself doesn't equal diabetes, but maybe the combination of obesity and low glutathione levels do. So what affects glutathione? Variations in detoxing and methylation genes, which I'll speak about in number 3 of the series. Aging, oxidative stress, which will both be discussed in section number 2, and gut dysfunction, which I've spoken about in series number 1. I want to invite you to watch these series in order because they build and grow on one another, but today we're going to introduce glutathione with the history and stats and so on. Let's look at a couple of reasons why we need to know about glutathione. Autism. Now 1 out of 110 of our children are autistic, with a 1,000% increase since 1992. But medical literature documents that an outinfection can lead to a lowering of glutathione. And glutathione participates in detoxification. So this can interact with metallothioneins and support many crucial aspects of immunity. So here's the key, you guys. A link between glutathione and autism regression may derive from the fact that transient or chronic intestinal problems can impair an infant's or toddler's nutritional status, thereby minimizing the level of amino acids required for the production of glutathione. Why? Because L-glutamine is needed to make glutathione, and when there's gut dysfunction, glutamine is used up when the intestinal area is dysfunctional. Now, many of you think I need to have ulcers or Crohn's to have dysfunctional intestinal area. No, that's not true. If you watch my series number 1, I will show you, or read Saving Generation Next, that if you have asthma, allergies, migraines, you already have intestinal dysfunction. Now, ADHD. Scientists have differing views on reasons behind the dramatic increase in the number of children, but we did know that it was 158,000 in 1970, 4.5 million in 2003. But what will it be in 2020? This is not okay. And all of these children have low glutathione levels. Interestingly, Dr. Greenblatt at Harvard University has done tremendous research about how what I'm going to show you next, Pycnogenols or OPCs, will pass the blood-brain barrier and change beta and theta brainwave activity in adults and children with ADHD. And I write about this comprehensively in my book, Saving Generation Next. So let's look at these OPCs as it relates to ADD and glutathione. In a study, as you can see here, published in 2006, in the pathogenesis of ADHD, genetic and non-genetic factors play an important role. It is assumed that one of the non-genetic factors is oxidative stress, which again we'll talk about in number 2. Pycnogenol, an extract from pine bark, consists of bioflavonoids, catechins, procyanidins, and phenolinic acids. Pycnogenol acts as a powerful antioxidant. It's a chelating agent, which means it extracts metals. It stimulates the activities of enzymes like SOD and eNOS, and it exhibits other biological activities. But here's what the trial showed. The trial was to investigate the influence of administered pycnogenol or placebo on the level of reduced and oxidized glutathione in children with ADHD. 1 month after administration, what they showed in a small amount, 1 milligram per kilogram body weight per day, caused a significant decrease in oxidized glutathione. Oxidized glutathione is used up. It's no good anymore. and a highly significant increase in glutathione levels in comparison to a group of patients taking the placebo. So Pycnogenol administration normalized total antioxidant status of ADHD in children. So unchecked oxidation will cause damage to cells and tissues, which will age us. In fact, if you think about it, if you're not able to read closely anymore and you're holding that paper far from you, that is the first sign of oxidative damage in your eyes. I think it's one of the first places we can really see it. But free radical damage is associated with degenerative diseases like aging, liver cirrhosis, atherosclerosis, and others. And it leaves children vulnerable and unable to detox. So make sure and go further on part 2 with oxidation, and also look forward to my ADHD webinar series coming soon, which will be more comprehensive. Now, I looked for the best OPC Pycnogenol, and I found this was the best for 2 reasons. Number one, the amount of Pycnogenol OPC was dramatic in it, and you can find it at shop.com, and I am also a franchise owner at shop.com, so it's shop.com/Debbie Waldeck. But if you go there and you sign in, you can also earn cash back, as you can see $140 on this one, and it accumulates on all purchases. But the reason I chose this one is because it is isotonic, and that means that it is a powder that when mixed with water is the same same pressure as other bodily fluids. And isotonic is the natural form our body needs anything to be in order for it to be absorbed and digested. In fact, 97% or so of absorption occurs through what's called passive diffusion, which is just passing through the intestinal wall, and it needs to be isotonic. A pill, on the other hand, takes up to 4 hours to be broken down. It's diluted. We have numerous, as you'll see in section 4, other things in our vitamin pills that are on the market you don't want to have. But think about it. If you watch series 1, most everybody in our country is experiencing some sort of digestive dysfunction and intestinal imbalance. And isotonic nutrition means that you're going to get more money, more bang for your buck. Your dollars will be well spent because you absorb, or up to 97% will be presented to your intestinal area for absorption. But glutathione protects the body from inflammation of gastritis, stomach ulcers, pancreatitis, inflammatory bowel disease, including ulcerative colitis and Crohn's. So it kind of goes back and forth. We fix the gut, but we also want to but the gut dysfunction diminishes glutathione. That's why I always address both the gut and the body with antioxidants. Glutathione's role in fetal and placental development is critical, and it also acts in the placenta to detoxify pollutants before they can reach the developing child. Many complications of pregnancy are linked to poor glutathione levels. So think about it. One simple thing, and we'll discuss further, but OPCs, Pycnogenols, we know clinically that raises glutathione levels. You do that and help with the gut. That may be all you need to do, which does numerous things, slowing down aging, helps with ADHD, autism, pregnancy. Please do me a favor. If you like this, share it. Tweet it, Facebook it, because we need to have people understand that we don't need to, if we have ADHD, we're not deficient in Ritalin, you guys. Share it. Now also, remember that dysfunctional gut increases oxidative stress. I'll be speaking about that in our next webinar series, but if you want the full discussion about digestive health, just go to my website, look at events webinars, and then you'll find the recorded webinars, and there you'll find the series, and they're being added one by one. But series number 1 at debbiewaldeck.com is what goes through the whole intestinal area as it relates to the immune system. Look forward to sections 2, 3, and 4 on aging, glutamine, and the glutathione connection. Remember, it is the antioxidant that we can't buy. We have to make it. Let's raise it naturally. I want to thank you, and let's save generation next.